Is how do you prepare yourself to buy a new home, or how do you prepare to buy the first home? And the thing is a lot of times, when you talk to people about when they're growing up, do they remember about saving money and what they were going to do and what you did with your money? I remember a long time ago when I was young, I would go to the bank with my mom. So my dad would give my mom a certain amount of money and she would put it in envelopes. And then when she wanted to make sure that she was saving money, she would go to the bank and she would save it in a CD. And those certificates of deposits are really great because you can earn money on the interest. And so I'm like, well, my money's just sitting in my piggy bank. Can't I just open a bank account and let it earn money? Well, it wasn't a lot of money that I earned, but if you put your money in the bank as you're growing up and you put your, Christmas money and your birthday money and all the money that you're getting, if you're watching it and you're putting it in the bank as you're growing up, when you get to an age where you can buy something, you have money. But if you're watching me right now, you're like, yeah, I wish I would have done that. But you're still okay. You know why you're okay? Because nowadays we have the down payment assistance programs. And there's so many of them. You just have to find the one that fits your particular situation. And a lot of people don't know about down payment assistance programs. In fact, I hate to admit, but as a loan officer, I would see real estate agents offer these down payment assistance programs, and I'd be like, are they real? I think they're just trying to use that as a ploy to get people to use them. But you know what? They're not. Professional real estate agents know a lot more than you think they know, and they're there to help you buy your home. They're there to negotiate for you. They're there to help you get through the contracts and understand what you're signing. They're there to help you find the perfect home that fits your budget. And if your budget's really small and you need to figure out how you're going to work, buying a home, one of the things you need to do is talk to a tax accountant. Because when you talk to a tax accountant, they can tell you how much money, by looking at your paycheck, how much money is going in for taxes and if you're getting money back. Because if you're getting money back when you do your taxes, you need to look at the whole picture. Because if you have zero dependents, they're taking as much money as they can out of your paycheck so that you're ending up getting money back later. And that's going to be a whole different class on looking at how much money you're paying in taxes and the benefits of owning a property. And another class that I want to talk about is, how to do what's called right sizing. So when you have kids and when you have a family, you buy a larger home and everybody's in the home, and when they all move out, you're all by yourself and you have a larger home and you don't really need all that space. So instead of staying in the large home, you can do what's called right sizing, which is kind of downsizing, so that you don't have a large home that you have to take care of. And a lot of people think that, the older people are keeping the houses and not making room for the younger people to move on in. And that's absolutely not true. It's just that the older people don't understand that they can sell their property and take their tax base with them. And a lot of people don't know about taking their tax base with them. They also don't know about, reverse mortgages. And we're going to be talking about reverse mortgages in one of our videos too. So we're just going to keep track of everything that we're teaching you so that we don't get too boring and repeating the same thing. So one of the things you have to do is you have to sit down and you have to do a budget. I know it doesn't sound like any fun, but it won't last forever. How about that? Because what happens is once you've done something for a long period of time, you automatically constantly do it. So if you actually sit down and you do a budget and you go, okay, I make this much money, but I only get this much out of my paycheck. And where am I spending it? Is it all going to rent, or do you have any extra money to the side? Now, the thing is I honestly want to say it's easier if you have a partner, whether it's your husband, your fiance, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever is somebody in your life that has the same goals as you do. Because what you might want to do is sit down together. It's a lot funner when somebody's doing it with you. And you can sit down and look at how much money's coming in, how much you can afford to pay out, and how much is left over. Because if you make a practice of the money that's left over, putting it aside, always put it aside. Don't go, oh, I have an extra, $100 left over, let's go to the movies, or I have an extra $50 left over, let's go out to eat. How about going to the grocery store and getting stuff to make what you're going to have for dinner and cook together in the kitchen? But there's different ways that you can make it fun so that you're learning how to budget. And once you learn how to budget, budget and you're doing it all the time and you see the success of your bank account going up, that's going to help you get used to making a larger payment than what you're paying for rent. Now, the other thing about making a larger payment than what you're paying for rent, because I got to tell you, a lot of times what happens is I talk to a client and I say, okay, the first thing I want to know is what is the payment that you're comfortable with? I don't want to put you in a house and have you have a $6,000 house payment if you're comfortable with a $3,800 house payment. So you have to look at what you're comfortable with. And once you tell me what you're comfortable with, then I can go backwards and to try to figure out what the what the loan amount would be based on your comfort of the payment. Now, the other thing is you can't be completely off the wall. You can't say, okay, I want a $2,000 payment, but I want a house by the beach. That's not going to happen. You have to have a little bit of common sense when it comes to what you can and can't buy. The other thing is just get your foot in the door. You don't have to buy the perfect home. Now, I tell the story all the time about when I bought my first condo. I was in line. We bought this amazing property. It was brand new. We watched the builder build it. Everything was going perfect. In fact, we got all the way to the point where we were actually picking the flooring. We went to the design center and we picked the flooring. And the next thing we knew, the next day, the loan officer called us. And he's like, I have really bad news. You can't buy your condo. And I'm like, wait, we just picked our flooring. We're ready to go. And you told us we qualified for it. He's like, yes, but the interest rates went from 8 to 18%. And now instead of qualifying for $85,000, you qualify for $58,000. And I don't know why we just threw our hands and gave up. And probably because we didn't have a professional real estate agent because we were buying in a tract of homes. So when you're buying in a tract of homes, you have to be really careful because you have to understand that they're not representing you. They're representing the builder. Okay. And that brings us to all the things that are happening in today's world of real estate because, a lot of people think they want to represent themselves. Okay. Well, let me just give you an example of representing yourself. Are you good with communication? Are you able to call the realtor and talk to them and ask them the questions that you need to know before you see the property? Do you know what the questions are you need to know before you see the property? Do you know if you're qualified to buy that property? And if you see that property and fall in love with it, what if it costs too much and you didn't know you didn't qualify because you didn't know that you were supposed to get pre-approved because you're not working with a professional realtor? So, a lot of people don't know how many things that your realtor does for you. What I do with my clients is I sit down and I talk to you about your financial literacy, how much your payments are going to be, how much you can afford to make, how much you're paying now, what your goals are, what kind of home you want. But if you tell me that you want the perfect home that you're going to be in forever, your forever home, you may not get your forever home the first time because like I thought I was getting my beautiful condo and that I would use that as a rental and then buy another one, which I ended up doing, but I ended up buying one that I wasn't so excited about. In fact, I'm so not excited about it that if I wanted to downsize, I would not move from my house back to that condo. Because what happened is I couldn't afford the nice, expensive condo. And we didn't sit down and talk to the sales agent at the developer. I'm sure probably other people did. And they had to find a way to get those buyers to buy because if the interest rate went up to 18%, it went up to 18% for everybody, not just us. But we were getting married and we had our wedding date and we were worried about thinking about the wedding. And so my ex-husband's mom, she and her husband, my ex-husband's father, they went looking for a property for us. So we didn't get to pick what we wanted. And they kind of pushed us into these properties that were a thing called co-ops. Now, a co-op, you normally have to pay cash for a co-op because a co-op is not a condominium. So now you have to learn the legal descriptions of properties. And it's interesting because I'll go on the multiple listing service and I'll see it says it's a single family residence. And then I look at it and I look at the legal description and it's a condo or a townhouse, which, oh yeah, a townhouse is a condo. So you have to understand the types of properties before you list a property or before you buy a property, depending if you're going to be a real estate agent or you're looking to buy a home and you're looking for information on that. So once you figure out how much money you're spending and what you're doing with your money, what you need to do is figure out what type of home you really want. And then see if they even kind of come together. Because if you're looking for a single family home, but you're only making $20,000 a year, you're not going to qualify for that. And so, like I said, it doesn't hurt on your very first transaction to maybe buy it with somebody that's a friend, or if you're engaged, obviously buy it with your fiance or your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever you want to do, and do something like that so that you can get your foot in the door. So what I ended up doing is I ended up buying this condo that it wasn't my favorite condo. It wasn't the best condo. And I will tell you, it's, it has carports. That's not good. You're not thinking, and getting a property with a carport, I didn't know that. It had a place for me to park, big deal. So I got the carport, and then I had to walk out in the rain when it was raining to go up the steps because the steps were outside. It really wasn't the perfect condo, but it was my first property. And what I do with my first property, so I'm trying to teach you guys, you got to watch every penny you're making. And this is probably where the beginning and the end of the marriage went, because I'm trying to save up more money again, because I saved up all my money for the down payment on that. We put the down payment on it. We're making the payments. The payments are kind of low and we're able to budget. So I start saving again for the next property. And so I'm saving for the next property. And my husband wasn't taught financial literacy. He was taught if you have $2, you go and spend $4. If you have $5, you spend $10. And I was taught if you have no money, you put money aside and you set goals for what you need or what you want. So wants and needs, right? You got to know what your wants and needs are. And so I wanted to buy another home and rent out the condo, and he wanted a motorcycle. And then he wanted a boat. And then he wanted a dune buggy. And every time I had money, he'd want to spend more money. And that's not financial literacy. That's somebody who was raised without knowing what to do with your money. So if you can learn how to save your money and be more aware of how much money is coming in and how much money is going out, then what you can do is you can go ahead and say, okay, our rent's $3,200 a month. We know that if we buy a house, we're gonna have to bite our bullet and pull up our bootstraps. And instead of going out to eat every Friday night, we'll go to the grocery store together and make it a fun thing and cook together. And maybe instead of going out to eat and spending $100, you spent, for each meal, $15. So you have to start looking at ways that you can save money so that you can get to the point where you're comfortable going, okay, we're used to paying this amount, but every month we are putting $1,000 away. So if you're used to paying $3,800 a month for rent, you're going to feel comfortable with a $4,800 house payment. Now, it may not be a house. It may be a condo or a small townhome, but at least it's going to earn equity. And as you earn equity, you build wealth, because it's a proven fact that people who are renters versus people who are homeowners, the homeowners, they build their wealth and they build their equity, but the renters just stay there forever. Because if you're going to rent forever, what's going to happen when you're 65 years old and you retire and your rent's higher than your Social Security and you don't have the money to stay in the property that you're in? So you have to really look at the far future and look at what you're doing now and come together with it. And if you have any questions at all, or you want to ask us how you can get yourself in a place to where you're starting to save, or you don't even, in today's day and age, there's a lot of down payment assistance programs. And what I have access to in California is the California Association of Realtors. We can go on there and we can put our clients' scenarios, how much money they make, where they want to be, how much savings they have, if any, and we can put everything about them, where they're buying, and we can see which program for a down payment assistance, because a lot of the down payment assistance helps you with the down payment and the closing costs. And if you have both the down payment and the closing costs, the only thing you're going to have to save for is your reoccurring closing costs, which are your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, homeowners insurance. So you don't have to have 20% down to buy a home. You just need a little bit of money to help you with your closing costs. And sometimes your loan officers can help you with that, because if you're qualified to have a slightly higher rate, they can give you a rebate and help you pay for the closing costs that you don't have. So never think that you can't do it, because you can do whatever you want to do. And if you want to buy a home, or if you want to become a real estate agent or a broker or even a loan officer, you can do it. All you have to do is ask us for help. We're here almost 24/7. Put the questions you have in our chat. Give us a thumbs up. Also, if you want to learn more about real estate and making yourself independently wealthy, go ahead and subscribe and I'll help you get there. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. We're doing classes every day from Monday to Friday. I usually come on at 10:30. All you have to do is, if you have the when it rings the bell or it shows you that I'm going on, I always post that I'm going on and what time I'm going on. Sometimes we have technical difficulties and I'll come on and I'll redo the video. So feel free to ask us, reach out to us. We're here to help you. Have an amazing weekend. Bye. I'm trying to learn how to shut this off without making it look weird. And it won't shut off.